It's not by chance that you're viewing this video. There's a reason you're here. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the timing of your life and know that you're being led to where you're meant to be. As you stumble on this video, perhaps not by chance, it will serve to awaken your spirit. You have been feeling pressure, resistance, and a heaviness in your spirit, and it is not without reason. What you are experiencing is not random. You are currently in the midst of a test, a storm, a period of stretching and growth. This is not happening because you are failing, but because you are on the verge of something life-changing. This is the season that comes just before a breakthrough. The enemy does not attack what is not a threat, and heaven does not remain silent when someone chosen is about to step into their destiny. You are being tested, not to be destroyed, but to uncover the strength within you that you may not have known existed. Let us break this message down into 7 real, raw, and relatable chapters. But before we dive in, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. What you are about to hear is not merely content, it is confirmation. This is spiritual nourishment delivered in divine timing for those who are currently walking through seasons of pressure, pain, and preparation. If your soul resonates with the weight of this season, type 77 in the comments right now. That number is not random. It is a sacred code, a signal to the Most High that you are aligned, aware, and prepared for the breakthrough that has been divinely reserved for you. Remember, not everyone will endure the storm until the end. And for those who endure, those who choose to remain steadfast through the storm, they will gain clarity, unshakable strength, and a heightened level of awareness regarding what is truly taking place behind the scenes of their lives. This is not the kind of message you hear once and simply move on from. Rather, it is a spiritual blueprint, richly layered with truth, wisdom, and divine power. Return to it as often as your spirit prompts you to. For each time you listen, you will uncover a new and deeper revelation, a key designed specifically for you in this season of your life. Let us begin, Chapter 1, The Pressure Increases, right before the promise. You have been doing what is right. You have walked in obedience, kept your head down in humility, shown love even when it was not reciprocated, prayed even when it felt as though no one was listening, and held tightly to hope while surrounded by overwhelming signs of hopelessness. You have sacrificed deeply. You have surrendered fully. You have remained faithful, even when it felt as though your very faith was being crushed beneath the weight of your circumstances. And yet, instead of witnessing the reward, the breakthrough, or the blessing for which you have so fervently prayed, life appears to be growing more difficult, more demanding, more intense. But allow me to speak truth directly to your soul. This is not a setback. It is a setup for something greater. What may seem like a curse is, in fact, a confirmation of your calling. You are not being punished. You are being strategically positioned for your purpose. Understand that pressure tends to intensify right before the fulfillment of a promise. That ache in your chest, the heaviness weighing down your spirit, and the deep exhaustion that no amount of rest can seem to remedy. These are not merely emotional or physical symptoms. They are spiritual signals, indicating a profound transformation is underway. You are in labor, in the process of birthing something divine. And as with all births, the labor becomes most intense just before the moment of delivery. The pressure you are feeling is not random. It is heaven's signature, God's way of identifying and preparing those He has chosen for something far greater. Consider this. A seed must first be buried in darkness before it can break through the soil and reach the light. A caterpillar must be crushed within the confines of its cocoon before it can emerge as a butterfly. And coal must endure immense and unrelenting pressure before it is transformed into a diamond. In the same way, your current trials are shaping and refining you for the greatness that lies ahead. So why would your transformation look any different from the patterns we've seen in nature and spirit? The enemy is already aware of what's coming. He can sense the shift in the atmosphere long before you do. He knows that you are standing on the threshold of something extraordinary, and that knowledge terrifies him. That is precisely why the attacks have become more intense, why the people around you may be behaving strangely, and why your thoughts are increasingly clouded with fear and doubt. What you are experiencing is not random. This is spiritual warfare. But more importantly, it is also spiritual evidence that you are closer than ever to your breakthrough. Just before the promise is fulfilled, the enemy unleashes his final and fiercest assault. The enemy's desire is to make you crumble under pressure, to convince you to walk away just moments before the door opens. But you were not built to fold. You were built to rise. You were born to withstand the storm and created specifically for the call on your life. You are not like the rest. You have been chosen not only to receive the promise, but to carry the weight and responsibility that come with it. And such a calling demands a different kind of strength, one that is forged through deep, unseen preparation. This is why your battles have been so prolonged, why your tests have been unusually intense, and why your life has never followed the conventional timeline. Every challenge has been shaping you for something greater. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. Chosen one, do not allow the weight of pressure to make you forget the prophecy spoken over your life. Do not let the surrounding darkness cause you to doubt the divine light that resides within you. The resistance you are facing is not a coincidence. It is intentional, specifically crafted to align with your destiny. The pressure you are experiencing is not meant to destroy you. Rather, it is designed to activate something within you that comfort and ease never could. God never wastes pain, and heaven does not apply pressure to those without purpose. The very fact that you are being pressed on every side is the clearest and most powerful evidence that what you carry inside of you is precious, purposeful, and profoundly valuable. Diamonds are rare, and their formation requires immense pressure. Oil only begins to flow after the olive has been crushed. Glory is the result of relentless grind, and the chosen are revealed only through resistance. Though you may feel alone in this season, you are by no means abandoned. The silence you're experiencing is not a sign of absence, it is part of a divine strategy. Heaven is fully engaged, angels are on assignment, and your promise is actively being prepared even as you yourself are being refined. You are not moving backward, you are being propelled forward. Though the path may not resemble traditional progress, the wilderness is not a detour, it is an essential part of the process. The fire is not for your destruction, but for your forging. And this current season of pressure is not the end. It is the very threshold of the promise you've been waiting for. So take a deep breath, wipe away your tears, straighten your shoulders, and continue moving forward with unwavering determination. You are closer to your breakthrough now than you have ever been before. Chapter 2. The temptation to settle. The temptation to settle will be strong, especially during the most trying moments of your journey. There comes a point in every chosen one's path where the fire burns at its hottest, the silence becomes almost deafening, and the weight of the process feels never-ending. You find yourself utterly exhausted, having prayed, fasted, cried, and believed, yet nothing appears to be shifting. Doors remain firmly shut. Opportunities seem to disappear before your very eyes. The people around you fail to understand the depth of what you're going through, and in all honesty, neither do you. It is a season of confusion, of heaviness, and of hidden refinement. This is the moment when the enemy whispers the loudest, fully aware of your vulnerability and exhaustion. He knows you are weary, so rather than launching a direct attack, he takes a more subtle and deceptive approach. He offers you something that appears to be a blessing, but in reality, it is not. It may be a job that pays well but slowly kills your purpose, or a relationship that occupies your time yet drains your soul. It might even be a path that promises comfort and ease, but quietly pulls you away from the very process God designed for your growth. These are not random opportunities. They are carefully crafted distractions meant to derail your destiny. These are counterfeits, false versions of what you've been waiting for. Counterfeits always appear before the real thing, often arriving at the very moment you are most desperate for change, most hungry for connection, and most tempted to compromise. The enemy never lures you with something you do not desire. Instead, he tempts you with a distorted version of what you truly want, one that comes without the waiting, without the work, and without the weight of responsibility that true purpose requires. And in your exhaustion, it becomes dangerously easy to justify settling for less, simply to feel something, anything, again. But hear me clearly, settling is costly. You may not pay for it with money, but you will pay for it with your peace. You will pay with your time, and often in the form of delay, distraction, and detours that can cost you precious years of your life. The price will show up in your spirit as a slow, quiet ache, a persistent sense that you are living beneath the calling placed on your life. Do not trade the promise for temporary relief. Do not forfeit the palace simply because the pit has become uncomfortable. The temptation to settle is always strongest just before the real thing is about to appear. This is a test, not only of your patience, but of your vision. Can you still see the promise even when everything around you appears to contradict it? Can you continue to trust that God's timing is perfect, even as your heart feels like it's breaking? Can you resist settling for what is merely good in order to receive what is truly from God? The world will often present you with counterfeit treasures when your hunger for something real becomes loud. But chosen one, you were never meant for scrap metal. You were crafted for royalty. Deep within, your spirit can discern the difference, even when your flesh feels weak. That inner nudge, that quiet discomfort, that still small voice telling you, this isn't it. Do not ignore it. That is your discernment speaking, your divine radar alerting you. This is not the one. This is not the job. This is not the moment. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is not found in fighting, but in waiting. Waiting even when it hurts. Waiting through the loneliness. Waiting when the enemy whispers that you'll never have anything better than what's in front of you. But here is the truth. If the devil is working this hard to convince you to settle, it's because what God has prepared for you is far greater than anything you could imagine. Your real blessing is just around the corner, and the pressure you are experiencing is not punishment. It is the final push before the breakthrough. Stay focused. Stay locked in. Do not compromise for the sake of comfort. Do not bow to the weight of loneliness. What's ahead is worth every moment of waiting. Do not let your weary soul talk you out of your divine assignment. You did not come this far just to stop here. You did not survive the wilderness only to settle in a temporary desert tent. You were destined for the promised land, not for a pit stop that merely pacifies your pain. What lies ahead is greater than what you've endured, and your journey was never meant to end in survival, but in fulfillment. Chapter 3. The Return of Old Triggers. Just before the breakthrough, something unusual often takes place. Old triggers resurface to test your growth. The past begins to knock, often subtly at first. Former temptations creep back into view. Familiar emotions that you thought had been laid to rest begin to rise within you. People you've outgrown reappear in your life, behaving as if nothing has changed. Suddenly you find yourself confronting situations strikingly similar to those that once broke you, confused you, or caused you to doubt your worth. This is not a coincidence, nor is it merely the chaos of life. It is a spiritual strategy, a divine final exam designed to measure your transformation and prepare you for what's next. Before you rise to the next level, life, or rather the universe and God, wants to know if you are truly ready. Have you really grown, or are you just saying that you have? Can you be trusted with more, or will you fall back into old patterns? Growth is always tested before it is rewarded. That is why just when you believe you've moved on, healed, and evolved, an old trigger shows up again. Perhaps it's the ex who once manipulated you, reappearing as if time has stood still. Maybe it's the quiet whisper of insecurity telling you that you're not enough. Or perhaps it's an emotional reaction you thought had long been buried. Anger, fear, anxiety, suddenly rising to the surface. You find yourself face to face with what once held power over you. But here is the key. This is your moment of power. Not everything that returns is meant to remain in your life. Sometimes these things resurface not to reclaim control, but to give you the opportunity to prove that you've truly changed, that the cycle ends with you. Let it be known that the healed version of you is now the default, chosen one. Your response carries more weight than your words. Do you still react the same way? Do you continue to chase after what God already instructed you to release? Do you still seek approval from those who never had your best interests at heart? Or have you learned? This test is not about achieving perfection. It is about cultivating awareness. It is about recognizing the pattern, pausing to take a breath, and consciously choosing a different response. It is the shift from reaction to reflection, from emotional impulses to intentional action, from being wounded to walking in wisdom. The healed version of you no longer chases closure, reacts to every insult, or allows triggers to define your truth. This healed self carries boundaries, walks in self-respect, operates with discernment, and most importantly embodies peace. The real battle isn't always external. More often it is a struggle with your former self, the version of you that wants to keep you stuck in familiar yet toxic patterns. But your destiny requires discipline. Your future demands emotional maturity. The door to your next level will not open until you demonstrate that you are truly finished with the last one. This is your divine checkpoint, a sacred moment of alignment and accountability. Do not merely speak as though you have healed. Walk in a way that reflects your healing. Do not simply say that you have changed. Let your responses reveal the transformation. Let your silence become your strength, your calm affirm your growth, and your restraint serve as your quiet revolution. The universe does not grant you what you desire. It grants you what you are prepared to carry. And the only true measure of readiness is your ability to face the test and pass it, not with noise, but with wisdom, not with anger, but with alignment. So when old triggers come knocking, do not respond as the old version of yourself. Respond as the renewed, evolved you, the one who is on the verge of stepping into a new season. Chosen one, you have come too far to turn back now, and what lies ahead is far too great for the person you used to be. Chapter 4. Delayed, not denied. You have been praying, waiting, believing, pouring your heart out in the quiet, hidden moments. You have whispered your hopes into the night, choosing to stand firm even when the silence felt overwhelming. And yet, it still feels as if nothing is moving, as if your breakthrough is just beyond reach, as if your prayers are merely echoing back from the ceiling. It's frustrating, it's confusing, and at times, it can even feel as though God has forgotten you. But listen closely, chosen one. Delay is not denial. This season of waiting is not a punishment, nor is it a sign that you have been forgotten, forsaken, or deemed unworthy. Rather, it is a period of divine alignment, a sacred space where unseen forces are working on your behalf. Behind the scenes, pieces are shifting, people are being positioned in your favor, and circumstances are being reshaped and refined to align perfectly with the magnitude of your calling and the destiny that awaits you. Sometimes blessings come wrapped in delay because timing is everything. If your promise were to arrive too soon, it could overwhelm you. If it came before your character was fully developed, you might sabotage it with fear, doubt, or impatience. The most powerful gifts require the strongest foundation. Consider it like the work of a master craftsman creating a masterpiece. You would not want the process rushed. You would want every detail carefully considered, every stroke made with precision, and every inch perfected with patience. The delay, then, is not denial. It is God's way of protecting you from carrying something you are not yet prepared to hold. A blessing too big too soon has the power to break a spirit not yet fortified. That is precisely what God is doing with your life in this moment. The waiting may feel heavy, like an anchor weighing you down, but in truth, it is a divine pause, one that is preparing you for liftoff. This is not your season to rush. It is your season to grow, to learn, and to prepare. It is a time to build resilience, to sharpen your vision, and to deepen your faith. Every moment spent waiting is not wasted. It is an intentional investment in your future success. Your blessing is maturing like fine wine, growing richer and more refined with every passing moment. And when it finally arrives, it will not simply be good. It will be perfect, flawless, and exactly what you need, at precisely the moment you need it. Not a moment too early and not a moment too late. God's timing is impeccable, for He sees the entire picture, the past, the present, and the future all at once. Even when circumstances seem stagnant or unclear, He is orchestrating every detail and working all things together for your good. Your patience in this season is the fertile soil from which your harvest will eventually bloom. So do not lose heart. Do not allow the waiting to rob you of your joy or your faith. Stand firm in the truth that delay does not equal denial. What is meant for you will find its way to you, and what rightfully belongs to you will arrive in the fullness of time, in a manner only God Himself can perfectly orchestrate. Hold tightly to hope. Continue praying, keep believing, and remain in a posture of preparation. Your breakthrough is not merely on its way, it is being carefully crafted, perfectly timed, and divinely designed. And when it finally arrives, it will overwhelm you with joy, for it will be everything you prayed for, and so much more. Chapter 5. Increased opposition before breakthrough. Have you ever noticed that just as you are on the verge of a breakthrough, everything seems to unravel all at once? Suddenly, unexpected bills begin to pile up like a relentless storm, threatening to consume your peace of mind. People around you start behaving in confusing and hurtful ways, and those you once believed you could trust grow cold or distant. Then comes doubt, that unwelcome, familiar visitor, sneaking quietly back into your thoughts, whispering lies about your worth, your strength, and your future. It can feel as though the entire universe is conspiring against you, as if the very fabric of your life is beginning to unravel. But hear this truth clearly: what appears to be chaos is in fact confirmation. The enemy does not waste energy attacking those who remain stagnant or are going nowhere. If you are not making progress, if you are not actively stepping into your destiny, there would be no reason for opposition to rise against you. But you are marked. You are on the enemy's radar. You have stepped into a spiritual battlefield because you are close, so incredibly close to something powerful, something life-changing, something destined to transform the entire trajectory of your life. And that is precisely why the attacks have intensified and the pressure has grown heavier. The spiritual warfare intensifies and the pressure begins to mount in every area of your life, mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually. This escalation is no coincidence. It is a divine signal, a sacred alarm sounding from the heavens. Breakthrough terrifies the forces of darkness. Your rise threatens to dismantle the enemy's stronghold, and your impending victory will shake the very foundations of every lie that has ever sought to limit or hold you back. When you find yourself on the brink of entering a new chapter in life, whether that means reclaiming your peace, rediscovering your purpose, or stepping fully into your power, you will often encounter a sudden surge of resistance. This resistance, though uncomfortable and at times overwhelming, is not accidental. Rather, it is a natural mechanism of life designed to test the depth of your commitment, the resilience of your faith, and the strength of your inner resolve. Paradoxically, the closer you draw to your breakthrough, your moment of victory or transformation, the more intense, persistent, and unyielding the opposition may become. It is as if the very forces that oppose your progress become most active when they sense how near you are to rising beyond your current limitations. This intensified struggle is a reflection of your immense potential, and it is precisely because of that potential that adversity mounts. The opposition, whether internal or external, fights harder, not because you are weak, but because your strength threatens to change everything. Every setback you encounter, every moment of confusion or despair, and every battle you face serves as a test of endurance and faith, acting as a divine call to remind you that you are not alone. For angels are assigned to your side, and divine strategies are unfolding in the unseen realm, ensuring that your pain and struggles are never wasted, but instead become the fuel and forge that will launch you into the destiny crafted for you before time began. But here's the unshakable truth. The greater the opposition, the greater the breakthrough. And this season is your proving ground. The moment when you hold the line matters more than any moment before it, for it is the crossroads where you decide who you really are, whether a quitter or a conqueror, a victim or a victor. And this moment will define your story. Therefore, stand firm, plant your feet, hold your ground, and refuse to be shaken by the noise, the distractions, or the swirling doubts. Remember that this pressure is not punishment, but preparation. And the battle is fierce because the prize awaiting you is priceless, monumental, and worth every ounce of struggle. Every warrior in history faced a final fight before their victory. Every champion was tested beyond their limits, and the giants of faith and heroes of history all endured a storm before their calm. So your story is no different. You're not fighting this fight alone. For every hero's journey includes a war zone just before the win. Keep your eyes fixed on the promise, not the problems. and keep your faith stronger than your fear, your hope louder than your anxiety. Because beyond this storm lies your breakthrough, your release, your victory. And it is worth every battle, every sleepless night, and every tear. So hold fast, chosen one, for the darkest hour always comes just before the dawn, and your breakthrough is on the horizon, unstoppable and near. Even when the pressure mounts, the attacks come, and the night feels endless. Remember that the enemy attacks the chosen because he fears the power that is rising inside you, yet you must rise anyway, fight anyway, and believe anyway. Chapter 6. Your faith is being refined. For faith isn't built in the sunshine, but forged in storms. Anyone can believe when everything is going right. But what happens when the lights go out, when the door closes, and when your prayers seem to echo back in silence? That is when your faith is put to the fire, not to destroy it, but to refine it. For this is the fire of transformation, not punishment. This season you're in is testing what you really believe. Not what you say you believe or what you post online, but what's rooted deep in your heart. And it challenges whether you can trust the plan when the path ahead is foggy and uncertain, whether you can still believe you're chosen when nothing around you feels fair, and whether you can still lift your hands in worship when the tears won't stop falling. For these are the defining questions of real faith. This is where shallow faith cracks, and authentic, mountain-moving faith is born. Not the kind that flickers when the wind blows, but the kind that burns even stronger in the storm. The kind of faith that isn't based on outcomes, but is rooted in unshakable trust in who God is. A faith that says, even if I don't see it yet, I still believe. A faith that whispers, even if I don't feel strong, I know I'm being strengthened. Because faith isn't passive or just waiting, it is enduring. It's choosing to show up again and again, even when you're tired, even when it hurts. It's standing tall in the middle of a spiritual storm and declaring, I will not be moved. Because that kind of faith is dangerous to darkness, the kind of faith that shakes foundations and opens impossible doors. Chosen one, you're not being abandoned, you're being refined, stripped of fear, doubt, pride, and the need to control everything. And though the fire is hot, it is burning off everything that cannot go with you to the next level. For you are being purified for a greater purpose, a higher calling, and a deeper connection. And what's coming requires more than wishful thinking. It requires unshakable trust. And that kind of trust does not come easily. It's forged in moments like this, moments of silence, moments of heartbreak, moments when everything says quit but your soul says keep going. As you are becoming more than someone who simply believes, you are becoming someone who knows, who walks with quiet confidence because your faith is not based on circumstances but on truth. And this test is not a setback, but a sacred training ground where every tear, every trial, and every lonely night is shaping your spirit, strengthening your resolve, and proving your faith. You're not going to break. You're going to rise stronger, wiser, and more grounded than ever, allowing the fire to refine you rather than define you, as your faith is being built brick by brick and flame by flame. And when you emerge from this, you will be unshakable, carrying a power that cannot be shaken, a light that cannot be dimmed, and a faith that cannot be faked. Chapter 7. The test you are undergoing serves as undeniable proof of a significant breakthrough in your journey. You are the chosen one, destined for a purpose beyond ordinary understanding. This experience you are enduring is not a form of punishment. Rather, it is an essential process of preparation. You are not being crushed by the challenges before you. Instead, you are being carefully crafted and shaped. You are not cursed by these trials. You are being called to a higher purpose. The test you face is not an indication of failure. On the contrary, it confirms that you stand on the very threshold of something vast, divine, and transformative, something so monumental and destiny-altering that its full meaning remains beyond your current comprehension. Heaven does not waste tests on those who have not been chosen. Every trial has divine intention. The intensity and magnitude of the battle you are currently facing point to one undeniable truth. Your breakthrough is drawing near. You did not persevere through so much only to reach this point and stop here. You did not walk through the fire, climb out of the depths of despair, or survive the isolation of the wilderness merely to be broken in the end. Every experience you have endured, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every sleepless night, and every silent, unseen battle has served as deliberate preparation for this very moment in your life. Every setback you have faced has contributed to the shaping of your character and the strengthening of your spirit. You were not made by chance. You were built with intention and resilience for this very moment. This stage of your journey is one where many others tend to surrender. It is a phase where the pressure becomes overwhelming, the silence feels deafening, and the fulfillment of the promise seems painfully out of reach. However, you are not like most people. You are set apart, chosen, and uniquely equipped. What has the power to destroy others is, in your case, forging greater strength within you. The very trials that were intended to break your resolve are instead making you resilient and unshakable. Your breakthrough is not a distant possibility. It is already in motion, unfolding behind the scenes, even if it is not yet visible. Stay the course, for transformation is already underway. There is a movement taking place, an echo resonating powerfully through the spirit realm. The very atmosphere surrounding you is undergoing a divine shift. Doors that were once closed are now beginning to open. Chains that have held you back are breaking and falling away. And even if you have not yet sensed this transformation in the physical, be assured of this truth. The shift has already commenced. Remain focused. Do not allow yourself to be distracted by the surrounding noise, by the chaos, the drama, or the voices of doubt that attempt to cloud your clarity. Stand firm and stay grounded in your purpose. Keep your eyes fixed on the vision that was placed within you and anchor your heart deeply in unwavering faith. Continue to walk faithfully even when you do not fully understand the path or the origin of the struggle. Trust that everything is aligning, even in ways that are not yet visible to you. The transformation is real, and it is already unfolding. This particular phase of your journey, this final and most challenging stretch, represents the part of the test where true warriors are revealed and long-awaited promises are brought to fulfillment. Though the trial may feel intense, it is important to remember that it is temporary. In contrast, the reward that awaits on the other side is eternal in both its impact and significance. This season is not solely about enduring hardship or merely surviving difficulty. Rather, it is about transformation, about evolving into the person you were always destined to become. Refined by fire, resilient through adversity, and fully prepared for what lies ahead. What is coming your way will not simply alter your external circumstances. It will redefine your identity. You are on the verge of entering spaces that once seemed beyond your reach, stepping into rooms where you were once overlooked, taking your place at tables you previously only imagined, and speaking with an authority and confidence that can only be earned by enduring and overcoming trials that others could not. So now is not the time to let go. Do not shrink back. Do not fold under pressure. You have already secured the victory. It simply has not yet fully manifested in the physical realm. The very test you are experiencing is not a sign of failure, but rather evidence that a breakthrough is imminent. You are the chosen one, and this is your appointed time. Others may not yet recognize what is unfolding in your life, but you can feel it deep within. A shift is taking place. You are not falling apart, you are breaking through. And when the dust finally settles, those who once dismissed you, who counted you out and overlooked your potential, will be compelled to witness the power of what God is doing through you. You are being tested not because you are weak, but because you are trusted. You carry something sacred, something significant. Very soon you will find yourself walking boldly in the very things you once only prayed for. The wait is not in vain, it is preparation. And if you're still hungry for more chapters to this journey, or a visual concept for a video or thumbnail, just say the word. I'm here and ready to help bring it all to life. Thanks for watching. Here ends this video. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. If you find this video interesting,